Autoline Daily is brought to you by Siemens PLM Software, transforming the process of innovation.
Welcome to the first ever broadcast of Autoline Daily, and here are today's top headlines. The European car market is expected to take it on the chin. Chrysler is shopping itself to other car companies, and Honda cuts production of the brand new Pilot. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Tuesday, October 14th, 2008, and now the news. ACEA, the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, says the global economic slowdown is going to hit European automakers hard. It says this will make it especially difficult for its members to meet the European Union's aggressive goals to cut CO2 emissions from cars. ACEA points out that the auto industry directly employs 2.3 million people in Europe and supports 10 million families, and it's asking the European Union to provide direct financial support to the auto industry. Just like the Americans, they saw that the big three were getting government money and they wanted it too. The Detroit Free Press reports today that Chrysler has been in contact with other automakers besides GM as it seeks out potential buyers. Chrysler CEO Bob Nardelli says they've talked with Nissan, Renault, an unnamed Chinese company, as well as Fiat. Obviously, Chrysler would make a good fit for a large automaker that does not have any presence in the North American market. I guess anybody with a checkbook can show up. In fact, I think Chrysler would even sell itself to a supplier if they come up with enough money. And speaking of Chrysler, it's been on a tear lately, suing suppliers that it says has violated contracts, including Accenture, Carson Travel, and GETRAG. For its part, German transmission maker GETRAG says it was stunned to learn of the lawsuit. It's all about an argument over the financing of a new transmission plant that GETRAG is building for Chrysler. Chrysler suppliers have been up in arms against the policies of the company's new purchasing chief, John Campy. I gotta tell you, I can tell you personally, they're hopping mad about what's going on there. Autoblog is reporting that PSA, that is Peugeot and Citroën, are developing a low-cost car to compete with the Logan, pictured here, that is made by Renault and only costs about $7,000. PSA will make a 5-passenger, low-cost car that will be assembled in Turkey or Poland and will be sold in many places in the world, but not in Western Europe. Low-cost cars really seem to be catching on in developing markets. Well, the economic slump is not just affecting sales of light vehicles. Daimler is going to lay off 3,500 workers at its big truck operations in the US and Canada. Both Freightliner and Western Star will close plants in Ontario and Oregon and move that production to Mexico. Earlier this year, Daimler announced it will shut down the Sterling truck brand, an operation it bought from the Ford Motor Company about a decade ago. Even though Honda just came out with a completely redesigned version of the Pilot, the company is making a significant 32% production cut of its largest SUV at its plant in Alabama. But thanks to its flexible plants, the company will fill up that gap with V6 Accords. It also makes the Ridgeline pickup truck at the Alabama plant. You know, Honda's weathering the storm better than most automakers, but with the severe downturn we're seeing, even Honda has really been taking it on the chin. Well, that wraps up today's top news stories. We'll be back in a moment to introduce you to the executive who's just been appointed to head up design for Mercedes-Benz.
Siemens, transforming the process of innovation.
Manufacturers give many of their models a fresh face each year, but it's rare when that fresh face belongs to the person in charge. Here's what I mean. To be young and not only driving a Mercedes-Benz, but to actually be the new chief of global design at Mercedes. Now that is living. Welcome to the world of Gordon Wagner, an 11-year Mercedes veteran who was recently put in charge of designing what many consider the world's leading luxury brand. Wagner, at only 40 years old, may be the second youngest person to ever hold this position, but the heritage of these prestigious products that he's responsible for is not lost on him.
Ever since its history, Mercedes-Benz has created automobile personalities. So If we look back into history, we have a lot of them. And this is our responsibility as designers today, to keep that heritage alive, to always create an automobile personality which stands out of the crowd and make the Mercedes such a special car.
And the first special car under Wagner's leadership was unveiled at the Paris show recently. It's called the Concept Fascination, that Mercedes is labeling the world's most desirable coupe. We'll just have to see how desirable it ends up being. Gordon Wagner will be based out of Stuttgart, but he will no doubt spend time at Mercedes' other design studios throughout the world, including Tokyo, Como, Italy, and Carlsbad, California. And that's it for the top news in the global automotive industry, but don't forget you can get podcasts, transcripts, and a whole lot more at our website, AutolineDaily.tv. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.